Bill, can I make a comment? Chairman? One of our officers, secretaries, their young lady had a birthday. And we always figured that we say happy birthday to her.
You leave.
Leave.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Ron.
And Jennifer.
Okay. Having got that out of the way, I'll start the meeting, call meeting to order on behalf of Chairman Dad, who's available. I will lead the meeting. So we have a quorum, correct, Mr. Executive Director?
Correct.
And on the agenda, first is the administrative portion, review approved board meeting minutes for September 10th, 2020. Everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes. Any questions or comments? Someone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll go with that.
And a second. Motion by Mr. McCormick. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Next is to approve the financial reports for September 20th, or September 2020. Robin?
Okay, we started out the month with $1,187,57 cash in the bank and $1,046,259 invested funds. We received in some bank interest, had a few expenses, the normal typical expenses for the month, and we ended up the month with $1,147,560 is cash in bank and $1,046,239 is invested funds. And then if we go on the back, it's the operating budget. We're at 75% of the way through the year, so if we look down through some of the items we're there right about. Overall, we're on target, maybe a little bit under. It's probably due to the COVID, didn't have as many in-office expenses going on, so we're doing good.
Very good. Any questions or comments on the presentation of the financial report? If not, someone like to make a motion to approve the financial report? Brian, second.
I'll second.
Marty, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Discussion items, update on the request for IDA assistance from Beaver Hollow Conference Center. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. As the board know, in July, Beaver Hollow had come in with an application for some IDA assistance. They had a capital project identified as $1 million. Their intent at the time was to have the board consider extending the current pilot by an additional 5 years to kind of match the tourism destination policy that this board put in place in 2012. So subsequently, we knew that we'd have to go to talk to the taxing jurisdictions. This board told us to go that direction, so we sat down with the taxing jurisdictions of the town and the school district, and the school district just wanted to make sure whatever happened that the town was happy. The school district has, like the county, has a much broader tax base to draw from, so they felt that they were going to be cut. They probably could absorb it, especially given the fact that Beaver Hollow is at risk of going away because of their expenses. And that's the whole reason behind the whole request from the beginning. So subsequently, the Beaver Hollow folks have been having some discussions with the town. They came up with a 5-year host agreement for the town. Everything seemed to be heading in the right direction, but then there was some communication from council for Beaver Hollow that they actually wanted a 15-year pilot. And so that being the case, kind of changed everything. So they are now back in discussions with the town because the town only had a 5-year host agreement. So I'm not sure where this will go or what will eventually come to this board, but I just wanted to give the board an update on where those negotiations are. The other concern was the fire district. If there was going to be a reduction in taxes paid, the fire district wanted to make sure they could maintain at least the current level that they have this year. The town saw it within themselves to make sure the district got pulled into the host agreement, so they will not be cut, because even a cut to the fire district would have hurt them. That's a big chunk of money that they depend on. So that's really where we are with Beaver Hollow, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if the board has any.
I had an opportunity to have a lengthy discussion with Supervisor Bronner on Monday regarding this subject. And she spoke about everything that you just said. She did not seem to be in favor of a 15-year pilot. And she said that they were going back to negotiations. So that was Monday.
Okay.
That's what I know. Okay. All right, the MK Slate project.
In your packet, the board you'll find it's called an expression of interest letter. I put the MK project even on the agenda just for discussion because eventually it's going to be an IDA project. And I just wanted to let the board know where we are in terms of the progress with it. So once we had identified that there is indeed some environmental contamination at the site, we being myself and Labella, had a pre-application workshop meeting with DEC to see if the findings of the environmental would put this project to a level where it would be accepted into the brownfield cleanup program. That's our whole goal, because if we can find a developer that's not scared of doing brownfields and can actually take advantage of getting in the brownfield program, because there's some attractive tax credits that come on the end, that's really the direction we're trying to lead this project in. So this expression of interest was really a summary of everything that's been done with the project, what's been found, even covered the salvage company's Wayward's work over there. And also in this packet, where there was an executive summary of some of the environmental findings. So this was all packaged up and sent to every developer in Western New York, in hopes that we might find someone that wanted to start a conversation about that. And I'm happy to say we have 2 developers that have expressed an interest, and we've started some discussions. One of those developers actually toured the site by himself a week ago Sunday. So there's some possible interest in this. The nice thing about this direction I think that we're heading is that there will not be any more municipal investments in that site, and the goal is to get redevelopment of that site. That's the end goal, and get it back onto the tax rolls. So that's kind of where we are with the MK site, and like I said, I just thought the board should know where we are, because the redevelopment portion of this project, if we get that far, is certainly going to be needing some IDA help for the project. And everything at this time seems to be pointing towards a redevelopment project that would include market rate senior housing or assisted living. Because that's really what the village would like to see, and that is really kind of the environment of where this site is. It's surrounded by residential units, so it would fit in well with the neighborhood. So that's where we are with this. I thought the board would appreciate an update.
Thanks, Jim. This is a great summary of this expression of interest. You know, I don't know how many times you've had to explain this to somebody.
Yeah.
And now it's in writing, so here, take it, read it.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, update on the anticipated projects, Green Lake Campground and Fire Facility.
Yeah, as you know, Dream Lake is proposing a major expansion at their campgrounds up on Buffalo Road. They're proposing to put in 41 new campsites. They're going to be building a new fishing pond. The project is sizable enough where it's going to involve, performing a secret process, because they're going to put in a larger pond. They're going to be disturbing more than 2 acres of land, so the secret process is a key component on there. I think the town planning board for Warsaw was going to be the lead agent on the secret process. I'm not sure where the permitting process is with the town, other than I know they have brought in a secret environmental assessment form application. At the same time, they are also looking for some financing help with the Wyoming County Business Assistance Corporation. We are going to be partnering with the Community Bank and Hans Kunze on the financing of this project. The nice thing about working with the banks is that they are willing to share with us their credit analysis that they conduct on the client. So it saves us paying for an underwriter to do our own analysis of it. This project is still coming, and I know that you hear some rumblings about it's not going to happen, it's going to happen. I'm pretty confident this project is going to happen real soon. So it will be coming for both the IDA and the Business Assistance Corporation. The Empire Distributing Project is located in Arcade. For those that don't know who the company is, they are a warehouse and distribution company for wood-burning stoves and pellets and outdoor living types of things for backyards, fire pits, grills, all those sorts of things. The company has done so well that they have outgrown the space they're in. And Doug, you know how big that building is? They're roughly going to double the size of that building. There. So I'm not sure. They're putting their plans together now and are sending out to get some quotes for construction. They do have in their hands an application for the IDA. So this is the Rupp family, and it's a family-run business, and they've done very well there. So we expect to see something come in real soon for this project as well.
Anyone that's never seen the complex, take a ride out. It's all small, it's natural. It's perfect, all blacktop.
And the inside is equally as impressive. And as many of you, this is Park Day.
You wouldn't even know it's there.
Emmer? Yes, sir. Okay. Yep. No, not a problem. Take care. Thank you. Chairman Dave will not be joining us. So those are two projects I just wanted to give the board a quick update on.
Okay. Executive Director's report.
Yeah, I would, Mr. Vice Chairman, I would like to back up and add one more item under discussion items. Actually, it would be an action item. Creative Food Ingredients, located over in Perry on Lincoln Avenue, recently has been sold to a company out of Texas. And the new company coming in is called Parker Products. It's a very, very large conglomerate food ingredient company. And so subsequently, they are making some changes to their debt structure and are looking to kind of remortgage for some additional debt. Our agreement with CFI, because of the economic development projects and the leases that we have with them, require that the board give consent to any remortgage of any funding. So I need the board to consider a motion providing consent for that new mortgage.
Someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second? Second. Ryan, is there any other discussion, questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, Creative Food Ingredients is over 200 jobs. I don't know if people know how big that company is and how big it's getting.
Jim, talking about companies being sold around the county, what do you know about ABI in our case? I have a neighbor who worked there for 30 years. He said it's been sold a couple of times. The last time it was sold, I walked up to him and said, "You're done after 30 years."
Wow.
So,
I don't know if there's been a transaction recently. I know that the last purchase was by a capital investment group, and I think you know as well as I do, when that happens, they're in it for the money, and they squeeze what they can and then they try to sell it themselves, so.
What else I know about this is, Mike Adams back, had asked me, he's the superintendent of Village and Grounds, he had a position, county had a position advertised for a laborer. And they had 7 applications from people who had worked at Creative Foods, or ABI. So,
Sounds like I better make a call.
yeah, that's kind of unusual because there's a sign out front that says "I want it." So, I don't get it. My neighbor told me that, he was at the top of the pay grade, had, several weeks vacation. And they didn't want to hire somebody younger, less time, less money, less experience.
Yes.
So I just wondered, I had not heard anything about it until he gave me some.
I have not either, so I will make a call on it.
Thank
Now, the executive director's report, I just have a couple other projects to touch on. Crest Light Electric over in Arcade. This is, quietly, they are closing one of their facilities in the south, and that facility is going to be absorbed into the Arcade plant. It's going to result in an additional 12 jobs. So because there's some involvement of bringing a out-of-state operation into the state, there's some potential incentives that can be realized through Empire State Development. So I made a connection with Crest Light and Empire State Development representative to see what can be brought to the table on that. But that's going to happen real soon. Secondly, I met with a realtor and 2 potential investors that are looking at that Tozer property up on the corner of Route 20A and 77. It used to be called the Oasis gas station. They had some environmental issues there years ago. So there's a possibility there might be something done there, but they wanted to talk about what resources are available through the county and a variety of things. So I'm sure they'll be back to the table soon. If you've driven by the Broder's equipment, Broder machine site, you see the building's gone. I reached out to them actually this week and talked with Jesse Cole. They're anticipating closing on their bank financing next week, and they are swamped with all kinds of work right now. So he says his project probably will get bumped to like December. Not a big push, but that's what he's looking for. Jim Hardy had asked me earlier about the hotel site in Arcade. Not much has changed there. The banks are still not overly anxious to finance new hospitality industries right now. But we're hopeful. I mean, they still sound committed. They have their plans done. They have their franchise agreement done with Holiday Inn Express. So things are all ready to go once we can get things improved from a financial standpoint.
This hotel here in Marshall's doing very well, isn't it? It seems like there's a lot of cars around it.
Yeah, it's still a soft opening, and never done a grand opening.
Yeah.
I talked to him today. This region is doing better. Rural places are down about 40%. In urban areas, the big hotels are down 50, 60%. So it's kind of strange. It's a little bit reversed, but they're over hotel in big cities. Jet said that they're pleased with what's going on. They're going to hold off, Becky, still hold off on the grand opening. Because he said it kind of sounds funny, but we really don't want all that many people because I think their staff is geared to this many people. And if you do it, you're not sure that you're going to maintain. If it really takes a sharp out for a month, then you're kind of, you got payroll and all that. So they're highly professional folks. They're doing it. The Restore New York grant is 100% approved. So the $1 million, there's a thing that New York State sends out on all grants. It's called grant disbursement agreement. And that is actually the village of Warsaw gets the $1 million, and then they get the $1 million to Hindus. So we've got the draft of that. I'm going to work with Joe Robinson, and that's why I called Jeff today to tell him, isn't that great news that everything's approved? So the public authorities, budget or accountability council, or whatever it is, approves all grants during the rainfall. It's all done. So as soon as there's somebody at Empire State Development that will sign the grant disbursement agreement, and the woman in charge of it in Rochester thinks that will happen the last week of October, then it'll take 2-3 weeks for the village to get all the paperwork done, working with the hotel people, and then they'll get the $1 million. My guess would be December. So, but that's the update on him. So they're happy with what's going on, but it's just, he said, it's just what you expect.
Yeah.
And the hotel business right now. It says it's from.
And it's full speed ahead on the Dunkin' Donuts convenience store.
Yeah.
Well,
Gas station.
There were a couple little glitches with, our buddy down there, Scott.
Scott.
Yeah.
What did he?
Well,
What did he?
for the water line, we didn't know it was running.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
That's, they resolved that.
That's part of the car wash, maybe. You know.
They put it in the water line.
But I mean, if you've been by there to see that it's going up, I mean, a lot of the heavy duty metal goes up. The building itself is going to be 4,000 square feet. 1,500 will be Dunkin' Donuts with a drive-through window, and the rest is going to be a very nice convenience store. So it's a great thing for the town.
It is.
And there's no pilot or any other incentives attached to it, so.
And the way you drive around for diesel too, is very good. for trucks.
Moving on, I think I brought to the board's attention TTI Light Industrial in Perry. They're located over on Main Street. They provide a lot of precision industrial support for preventive maintenance for CNC machines. They even install CNC machines. They do some contract manufacturing. They've outgrown their building on Main Street, and they want to build a new building at the property that they own at the racetrack in Perry. So I talked with the manager this week, and they're filling out the application for some IDA assistance on that. They got all their pricing for their construction. They got the electrical all figured out. The property is zoned manufacturing, believe it or not, even though it's way out there in the middle of farmland. So everything is all set for them. So then just some quick updates on some of the renewable projects. The Bennington Niagara Solar Company board already approved their project, but nothing has been built. That's because they were waiting for NYSERDA to open up the window for the auction or the bidding process for new renewable energy. They just opened that window, so they're in the process of bidding on that. And then there are 4 solar projects in the pipeline. Delaware River, which is the one in Pike, it's going to be a 12.6 megawatts. The Silver Lake Solar in Cast Isle, which is going to be a 24.9 megawatt project. The Big Tree project in the town of Bennington that's going to spill over into the town of Sheldon is 175 megawatts. And then there's the small one in Bennington right behind the fire company there called Buffalo Solar. That's going to be 500 kW. So the firemen are very interested in seeing that project go through because it will provide them a steady flow of lease for that property that will help them with their budget. So those projects are still coming in. The other thing I wanted to mention is Wyoming County kind of led a regional initiative trying to get some EDA CARES grant money. So I worked with Scott Gardner and Eric Zuch and Visit Rochester to see if we can get some money for some of our recreation tourism businesses that have been hit really hard. An application was submitted. We're still waiting to hear if it will be funded. The other thing I wanted to report on today is we don't really report much on what the business center is doing, but the IDA spends a lot of staff time administering the business center. So I thought it was important today to give you a few updates on what's going on with that organization. The Business Center, for those who don't know, is a local development corporation. The county is the sole member of that. It has no employees. That's why the IDA administers it. But because of the pandemic, we started a new loan program called Restart Wyoming Loan Program, offering loans of up to $10,000. 6 loans to date have been approved, so roughly around $59,000 has been loaned out. So that program seems to work pretty well. We also applied for some grant funding through the Wyoming Foundation and Key Bank. This is a project that Jennifer worked on. It's called the Business Accelerator Academy. It's in your packet. What we're finding with the Fast Track program is people do a very good job of getting their business plan done and do a very good job of starting their businesses. But then once they get started, they need that additional hand-holding, and it's really not there, or that additional guidance. So the idea is to get them back into some groups with some other like businesses, with some facilitation from Jeff and Mike Fix from the Fast Track program, and get them to identify what are some problem areas and how you might be able to fix some of those things and get the company growing much faster. So we're excited about this program. We're going to launch it in the spring, and it's going to run at the same time the Fast Track program runs as well. I got a call one day on this next flyer is a call from Rosie at Community Action, who had a bucket of EDA CARES funds and said it needed to be used for helping businesses that have been impacted by the COVID-19. And so we put together a program we're calling a business mentorship program. And the idea is to get companies that have not taken the time really to look at where they are, how they can reach out to new markets, new customers, how they might be able to sell digitally, hook them up with a business mentor that we are going to pay with these grant dollars to help them get to the next level. This program, the grant was approved by the folks at EDA, so we're ready to roll this out, and this just got finalized, or will get finalized this week, and then we'll start seeing some PR out there for the program. And then last but not least in your program, Fast Track still runs. We're moving into our 11th year starting next spring. So to date, we have had 88 businesses start in Wyoming County that have gone through the program, and collectively they've created approximately 130 jobs. So it's been a really good program. So like I said, I just thought it's important because the Business Center is also doing economic development work in conjunction with the IDA, that sometimes it's important to step back and look at the whole picture of what's being done here in this county. That's my report, Mr. Vice Chairman.
Thank you, Jim. Any other questions, Jim, on the report? Very good. Next is the special project coordinator report.
We already discussed the hotel. Census, what a mess. We found out last night at 5 o'clock. Remember, the census was closing down September 30th. And they were sued, and then a federal judge out, I think she's from California, if that would make sense, sued to keep it open. So she gave an 82-page opinion to stay that and keep it open until October 31st. And then there were lawsuits or motions, or whatever you call it, filed to override her opinion, her 82-page report on this. And yesterday at 2 o'clock, the 9th Circuit Court, the most liberal of all the circuit courts, people had forecast that they were going to agree with the administration over separation of powers. So close it down. And they came the other way and said, no, keep it open, and we're going to let her do it. There was an immediate appeal by the administration, and that was overruled by a 3-panel three panels of judges in the Ninth Circuit. And now they can take it to the Supreme Court to shut the census down. So why I'm telling you this is we have money from New York State to spend. About the only place we could possibly spend what some of the leftover money is on radio. And Rosie Shader at Community Action, she got the bulk of the money to spend. So like the sign you saw, the banner you saw when you walked in registered, that's money that came from New York State. So it's a mess, and nobody knows as right now, we go on to a group that sends us emails. They're out in New York City. There's the complete census committee from New York State, and they're all a bunch of lawyers from New York City, so they keep track. The nation follows out by the hour. So you may see some more advertising, you may not. The census may have ended already, while I'm talking, or it may go to October 31st. But there's not really, how do you even put more ads out and stuff with newspapers? Here we got daily newspapers, one, and then you got weeklies. The penny savings will be put money into those things. So we'll see what it is, and I'm going to, I sent an email off to Rosie today, explaining it to her, and saying, hey, you've got some ideas for radio. She and I have already discussed it. So maybe we'll try to buy another week's worth of radio to get people to sign up. So that's the census. And the last one, and this affects the IDA, the New York State Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act. That's the big law the governor did at the end of 19. And this sets all the targets for energy, greenhouse gas emissions, for renewable energy usage. And it's a big deal. And as part of that, they've got NYSERDA, they've done a program called Build Ready. And the Build Ready campaign turns NYSERDA into a developer, just like all these wind or solar developers we know over the years. Now it's going to be NYSERDA. Okay, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, they're going to be the ones out there, and they're going to come in, they're going to negotiate host agreements, they're going to negotiate leases with the landowner, they're going to get the building permits, they're going to come to the IDAs, I hope they come to the IDAs. And they've created a whole new level of government called the Office of Renewable Energy Siting, it's called ORIS. And they're looking for places where people got ideas where they would have a lot of large tracts of land that could be used for solar. They're reaching out to everybody.
Is this for solar only, though?
No, it could be for everything.
Wind?
It's wind also. But solar's their big.
This could be more lucrative than private companies, knowing the government.
Well, and what they're going to do at the end. This is a good point.
A private company would play pretty close to the vest. The government will say, well, we've got this amount of money, and that's what it'll be, so.
But he's only looking at these targets. He wants X% of renewable, X% of greenhouse gas, done away with it. But what's interesting, when they get to the end of the rainbow, they're going to auction these off to real developers. But they're going to hand out package. They're going to say, all right, there's 150 acres in the town of Covington, and here's all the details. Everything's ready to build 100 megawatt of solar on this location. And then all these solar developers will bid on that to get that package from New York State. And they finally did that because all this Article 10 siting that you live through right now with the alley cat, it's a lot of confusion, a lot of people get their noses in it. And I think the governor probably had enough and said, nah, I'm just going to take charge of it. I'm going to just run roughshod over all the locals and get this done. So you should be aware that, Jim, they're going to be coming directly, hopefully, with the idea. I brought it up at every meeting I had because the guy who runs ORIS is a guy named Utan Mulvaney who has said publicly, oh no, we'll deal with the school systems, we'll deal with the towns, we'll deal with the counties directly. And I think maybe now he gets it. So if he really wants to be a developer, why would you go to all three of them and go through all that nonsense when you go to the IDA, who already knows these people in the community and has the power to do the pilot and taxes for you? So that's kind of an update on what's happening. That's the law now. But what's really fascinating is they have panels. They have all these series of different panels for everything you can think of. And the one that's really important is the land use, what's it called? Land use and local government panel, advisory panel. There, and some of you heard me say this, some of the supervisors. Of 122 appointees to all these different advisory panels for this climate project, the only one that I can find that has anything to do with a county or a town or a city is the head of soil and water in Portland County. Other than that, on the local government advisory panel, there's not a person who's in local government. How about that? Does that sound like I just skate right over the top of it? So, NISAC.
Are these paid panels?
Oh, I don't know if they're paid that. I don't know. Yeah, well, but NISAC is really all over this. They're really hot. And I serve on the resiliency committee. And Martha Robertson was very liberal, very left.
But she's
But she's
front and center, yeah.
really front and center on this. Polling cars, the Erie County exec stepped away as the head of this resiliency panel for NISAC. She's now taking it over, and she's like, they didn't ask any county people to be on the governing panels, 22 people of this council, and then you have all these advisory councils. So maybe that's 150 people appointed. One that is tied directly to county government, no city people, and no county. Yet this is the land use and local government.
You would have to meet Martha to appreciate this talk. Right, Becky?
Yeah. It's good in this case, though.
Oh, yeah, in this case it's good, because she's looking at it saying, well, whether you believe in the same things or not, the principle is, why aren't counties represented? Why aren't the cities represented? Why aren't the towns represented? One more time. So there you go, that's the report, but that will have an impact on the IDA because of all this huge push to get acreage for renewable energy, no matter what kind of it is.
I believe that Martha has a good relationship with the Well, she does, no question.
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay. Then the end of your report.
That's it.
Thanks. Any other business for the IDA?
Yeah, I wanted to bring the board's attention. We developed some signs that are located here behind Tom and Jim. One of both properties that the IDA owns, the one in Arcade, 28-acre development site. We posted some of those on there. I have several of them, so when winter kills them, I can put a fresh one up. This one in Barry, I put it up a week ago. In 2 days, I had 2 phone calls about it. But I guess I kind of wanted to talk to the board about, everyone's calling and saying, what's the asking price? And I say, well, what are you proposing for development? Because I said the board wants to be kind of particular on the type of development, especially being the Perry property is on the gateway to the village. So I just wanted to get a sense from the board. Am I heading in the right direction with that? I mean, it's zoned manufacturing, light industrial type of activity. And I don't want to make anybody mad by saying, well, that's not the type of business we want. The ones that have come forward have been like, they want to build a shop and they want to do some repair, lawnmowers, and anytime you have those types of businesses, a lot of junk gets scattered around outside and all those sorts of things. So I'm not sure the village would appreciate that type of business being there, but.
I think, we should probably show it. See what
But I don't just want to sell it for the sake of selling it. I mean, we bought it for a reason. We wanted a certain type of development there. And then the sign in the middle, we've never made any signs that we can place at project sites that said this project's been assisted by the Wyoming County IDA. So I have several of those made up as well. And when Jesse Cole starts his project down there, we'll be placing one on that site as well. So that's all I had for other business.
Thank you. Okay, this meeting is November 12th, and
Second.
motion made, seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Very good. Next,